What is going on, everybody out there in YouTube lands? Once again, my name is Alex and I go by Little Chief 2007 on various forms of social media, and I just want to say welcome back to the channel for another video. Now today I'm going to be doing something that I've also been meaning to do for a while, and that is giving you my top 5 favorite G Fuel flavors. Now this was kind of a tough one for me because a lot of my favorite flavors are actually no longer available. They're vaulted for whatever reason, of course, and you know, it was also hard to make some honorable mentions as well, and I actually had a set list of my top 5, but I did manage to consult the man himself, Electric Shock, about his practices for top 5 favorites, which he tends to do every few months. And as I mentioned, I had my list actually pretty locked on, and I asked him, do you do flavors that aren't available anymore? Because I feel like he doesn't. And he was right, and my suspicions were confirmed. He mentioned that, again, there's no point in him putting a flavor which is no longer available for purchase. So I had to make a few changes, but here I do have my top 5 favorite flavors, and also have top 5 honorable mentions as well. Now the thing about the honorable mentions is that they really have no exact order, so they're just listed off as is. The only one that does actually kind of have an order, kind of a segue into number 5, is my last honorable mention, and I will of course explain all that as the time comes. So here we go, let's get started. Okay, so the first honorable mention is Shiny Splash. This is also the newest flavor from G Fuel. It is Blueberry Lemonade. It is inspired by A-Drive, who is a Pokemon content creator. It is a very light flavor. It is a very, very, very good flavor also for recommendations. It's even lighter than Hype Sauce, I would say. So it's definitely a flavor that it's so new that I can't really rank it in the top 5 itself, since I have so many other flavors that I would also drink as well. But it is very, very good. Must buy, honestly. Next recommended flavor for the must-have honorable mentions is Phase Berry. It's a classic saying in the G Fuel community that you can never go wrong with Phase Berry, and it is such a good fruity flavor. It has blueberries, pomegranates, strawberries. It's a very, very good introductory flavor. Of course, there's other flavors that some people might say are good recommendation starter flavors, or even if you just don't know what to get. There's been times before where I'm just like looking at my G Fuel tub and I'm just like, I don't know, or my tower I should say, and I'm like, what do I drink? But I'll just look at Phase Berry and go, you can never go wrong with Phase Berry. Always a great choice. Number 3 spot, well, I keep saying numbers. These honorable mentions don't have a number, I'm just saying it because it's the third one. But the next honorable mention is Cherry Limeade. Now this is a flavor that has made a return to the website recently. I almost considered actually not putting it on my list in any way because it is sold out on the website, but it doesn't mean it isn't vaulted. So in a sense, it does qualify for me. Cherry Limeade is a flavor I had before, and when I was having it, I was kind of getting tired of the flavor. It's an interesting mix of sour with the sweetness, and in a sense, I was almost getting tired of it, but then I started loving it again out of nowhere. And I remember being very bummed out when my first tub ran out because it was vaulted at the time, but then they brought it back, and I had to buy a tub right away. It was part of a BOGO. I bought this and another one of PewDiePie. This is such a good flavor to have. It's perfect, not too sour, sweet, refreshing. Now the next honorable mention is Bahama Mama. There's actually a flavor that was one of my top favorites for a long time. It was actually at one point even number 1. And the reason that I picked this one is because I wasn't sure about it at first when I was thinking about it, because I had heard pineapple and coconut, and I was like, those aren't really flavors that I would want to taste and like drink. But then I decided to give it a try because at the time it was the newest flavor, and I was so surprised how good it is. It is also another very refreshing flavor. And my last honorable mention does have a certain place, and the reason that I have it listed as my last honorable mention, the last one is Sour Pixel Potion. This might be an unexpected choice for some people, but I'm actually not a fan of the sour flavors, the ones that have like the name sour in them, right? And they're not my thing, but Sour Pixel Potion is just such an underrated flavor. For a while, it was actually my favorite sour flavor, and I always say it's the most underrated flavor there is. So this is the final honorable mention. Honestly, if you haven't tried it yet, Sour Pixel Potion is the way to go. With that being said, that segues into my number 5 flavor at the moment, Sour Phase Berry. As I just mentioned, I'm not a fan of sour flavors, but until Sour Phase Berry came out, it was actually Pixel Push was my favorite sour flavor, but now this is my #1 sour flavor. Again, not my #1 flavor, but this best sour flavor to me, which is saying something because again, I just don't really care for the sour flavor. It's not like my thing. But this one is taking a sour mix into Phaseberry, which is of course one of the most time-tested flavors out there. It's only I think the 5th flavor. It's a flavor that I can drink anytime. It's so good, so refreshing, and it just hits the right amount of sourness. Now coming in at the #4 spot is PewDiePie. The PewDiePie flavor has proven to be one of the most, I think, popular flavors. It's definitely one that's going to be just continue to be a flagship of G Fuel for years to come, still as long as they of course continue to make it. It has a very tart flavor to it, very tart just sensation, and I always consider this one, Phaseberry and Type O, to be kind of very similar. Type O of course has that very fruitiness, flavor, fullness. Type O has a very light taste to it, and this one has a tartness to it. So I always consider these three to be kind of like in its group formation together. But if I were to pick one of those ones, it would be PewDiePie. Definitely a flavor that you can just pick up and drink anytime also. You might not think of it being refreshing when I say it's full and tart, but I mean it really is a great flavor to pick up. Coming in at the #3 spot, you might have seen this in my past video with my G Fuel mix, it is Peach Rings. Peach Rings, I remember, was announced in June of this past year, 2020, I believe, that we're still in, of course, past year. And I remember being so excited for it right away. I was like, Peach Rings just sounds so good. And I was so right. Liquid Peach Rings just tastes like you're drinking a literal liquefied version of the Peach Rings can you can buy at gas stations, and it is so good. Actually, almost done with this tub. Luckily, I have a second tub of it, and it's even probably my mom's favorite flavor too. I know that she loves Peach Rings also. It's just so good, and she's someone who, you know how moms are. They're kind of hard to please, but this is something that she even likes too. Peach Rings is probably her favorite, but this is my #3, Sonic's Peach Ring. Before I continue with the #2 spot, I just want to say thank you so much again for all the support on my G Fuel videos recently. I'm still trying to decide where I want to take the direction of my gaming content on my channel, but I'm making a few decisions on that. And I just want to say thank you so much. If you're liking this list so far, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will definitely respond to any comments. Here we go with the #2 favorite flavor now, Hype Sauce. Now, up to a lot of people, this might be their #1. And it's a close one. This, for me, my #1 flavor is one that I drink almost every day, and if I don't drink it, it's because I just felt like something else in that moment, but I was considering the #1. Hype Sauce is also pretty up there too. It is Raspberry Lemonade. Of course, a lot of people will say that this is the best starter flavor for someone who's going to try G Fuel for the first time, because you can't really confuse the taste of Raspberry Lemonade. You know what's going to be. It's incredible, it's light, it has the right amount of the raspberry flavor in it. Now the reason that Shiny Splash isn't in my top 5 is because they're very similar. Raspberry lemonade, blueberry lemonade. The blueberry lemonade's very light. It's not a bad thing, but with raspberry Hype Sauce lemonade, you know what you're getting, and it's a bit of a stronger berry flavor in this one. So this one has to be #2. And while I do like Shiny Splash a lot, again, it's not enough to make it in my top 5, but this is one that had to be in there. And it's #2 actually. Probably thinking, well, what's #1? As I mentioned before, my #1 would have been Dub Melon Mint, but it's not available anymore. And I still have actually a pretty full tub of Dub Melon right here and I just haven't drank much of it because it's so good, and it is vaulted. That would have been my normal #1, but I just didn't think it was right to include a vaulted flavor in my top 5. So my #2 got actually catapulted to #1 now as a result. And what that is Peach Iced Tea. This is a flavor that actually 3 months ago wasn't even in my top 5 at all. Probably not even in my top 10, but I started having it a little more one day recently. I was like, it's so good. It's so good. I love the bitterness of this one. And of course, you might also realize recently, they did come out with the reskin of Peach Iced Tea, the Lyrics 9 Lives. Now, this one was a little different at first to me because I thought that maybe they toned down the tea taste a little bit. But then after a few tries, I actually realized it's about the same still. It might be a little sweeter than the original Peach Iced Tea, but the new one's actually growing on me. So Peach Iced Tea is my #1 favorite G Fuel flavor. It's a flavor I have almost every day. Sometimes I have it even twice a day because I drink, typically personally, I drink no more than 2 flavors a day, 2 drinks. Sometimes I've even had this one twice. It's so good to me that I actually bought a box recently of the original peach iced tea also. But again, don't let that discourage you from getting the Lyrics 9 Lives. I've actually been drinking quite a bit of this also. It's just a very, very solid flavor. It has a good amount of bitterness. The peach comes through strong. Not as strong as peach rings, which again, nothing wrong with that, but this is just a very good mix of bitter and sweet. Definitely my favorite G Fuel flavor right now. And that's gonna do it for this top 5 flavor list. Thank you so much for watching once again. I just can't believe that people are enjoying my content in terms of G Fuel lists and tastings, and I just wanna say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. This has been an incredible, I don't know if I would say risk, chance, because I'm not really risking anything, but of course I've been streaming for 6 years and I never really considered making G Fuel videos, any kind of YouTube videos until recently. I just want to say the support has been incredible. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Make sure to get some of these flavors if you haven't yourself yet, the honorable mentions, the top 5. If you can, of course, I recommend getting some of those flavors, maybe try mixing a few of them. Let me know in the comments what you think. What's your favorite flavors? Do you have a list? Do you have honorable mentions? If you want to ask me about one of these flavors, please ask me in the comments. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.